Croissant power up to the August Savings PSN sale. It's been a while, so it's nice to see you all again. And this may not be the best sale I've ever seen, but I've gone through it all and I found some really cool games for you to play, and you can save a lot of money as well. So if you like the sound of finding some cool games to play and saving yourself a ton of money, don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss a good deal again. You're welcome here anytime. Okay, this sale ends on the 30th of August, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up is a VR game, Archangel. It was released in 2017, so it's 6 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £8.99, which is pretty good. This is an on-rail shooter with move controller support, and it lets you step into the cockpit of a 6-story mech as the spearhead of the United States Free Forces war against the mechanized forces of Human X, a tyrannical corporation that rules post-apocalyptic America. Ordinarily, this would be a pretty mediocre on-rail shooter, but in VR a lot of games are better, including this. There's nothing like being in the cockpit of a 6-story mech that make things more interesting, right? In any case, if you enjoy on-rail shooters, or you like the idea of being in a mech, this is one of the games you should look at, although there are others on PSVR as well. Next up is a multiplayer game, A Way Out. It was released in 2018, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is really good. This third-person action adventure is the ultimate co-op game. You and a friend play as Leo and Vince, who reluctantly team up to escape from prison together. And as your adventure continues, you must evade police, while getting involved in an emotional story of adventure. What's really cool about this game is only one person needs it, so if you've got a friend you want to play this with, you don't need to both buy it. If one of you buys it, it'll let other people play with you, as long as you're the one that's got the game, which is really cool, so it's a really great value to play with a friend. So if you like third-person adventure games like Uncharted and those sorts of games, and you want a 2-player co-op one, then this is basically your only choice, and it's a really good one. So if you like the sound of it as much as I do, why not take a look at it? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with a friend. And hey, if you've never played a third-person action adventure before, then I'd really recommend this one if you've got someone to play it with, because it's designed to be played with a friend, so playing it on your own is just a bit of a waste really. So if you don't have someone to play with, then pick up a different game instead. And if that's the case, then make sure you subscribe, and I'll help you find another game in another sale. We have a blast from the past next, Battlezone Gold Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is really great, as this edition includes all of the cosmetics DLC, so you're getting the best version of the game, with all of the extras included, which is really good. This game is based on the classic arcade game, where you get to control the futuristic Cobra tank through a procedurally generated campaign that's different every time you play it, and it features full VR support, which is awesome, 4-player co-op, and tons of customizations for your tank. Now you definitely don't get a lot of tank games, so if you're a fan of tanks, this is probably your only option really, outside of some of the free ones like World of Tanks or War Thunder. And this one has VR support, which you can't ignore. So if you're a fan of the old arcade game, or you like the idea of piloting a futuristic tank, then why not take a look at this game, you might really enjoy it. And if you've never played a tank game before, then like I said, you don't really have many options, so if you like the look of this one, why not check it out. It even has a retro mode that emulates the original graphics, which is great, if you can remember that far back anyway. In any case, it's very unique, so if you like the sound of it, why not check it out. You won't get many other options, that's for sure. I love the look of this one, Beat Cop. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the price of £1.19, which is an amazing deal. In this simulation game, someone has framed you, and now you must patrol the streets, turning over every stone to uncover the truth. It's inspired by 80s cop shows, the serious and the funny ones, which makes for a really cool game, as you get to take bribes, or stick to the law and be strict. With a non-linear story, and multiple endings, this game can go many different ways, and will really benefit from multiple playthroughs if you want to see all the different stories and endings. I really like the look of this game, it looks quirky and unique, and I really liked it ever since I seen the first trailer. I picked it up myself and I'm really looking forward to playing it. And if you like different and quirky games, or you like the idea of being a beat cop and getting involved in a conspiracy with a really cool story, then why not check this game out? I'm sure you'll have a really good time with it. And hey, if you've never played this sort of game before, which I'm sure you haven't because it's very unique and different, then I would definitely recommend it. When it's on sale, it's always dirt cheap, and if you like the sound of that, and those sorts of games and experiences, then definitely take a look at this. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. We have an indie game next, Black Hole Complete Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 6 years old, and it's on at least an 80% sale for the price of £2.59 or £1.94 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for a cool looking game. And this edition even includes 3 DLC, the Testing Lab, the Secret of the Entity, and the Challenge Vault as well, so you're getting the best version of the game, with all of the DLC included as well, which is really cool. In this hardcore puzzle platformer, your crew and ship have been sucked through a black hole and crash land on an unknown location, and now it's up to you to fix the ship, save your crewmates, escape, and close the black hole, becoming the hero of planet Earth. It features a load of platforming and a lot of gravity-based puzzles, so it's not going to win any awards for uniqueness, but hey, it looks pretty good anyway. If you're a puzzle fan, you've probably played other games like this, so you'll know if you'll like it or not. So if you do and you haven't played it, why not take a look? But hey, if you've never played a puzzle platformer before, then I'm not sure if I'd recommend this one because it does advertise itself as being a hardcore one, so it may be a bit difficult and put you off if you've never played this sort of puzzle platformer before. So take a look around instead. There's plenty of other puzzle platformers around, and a lot of them are really great games. We have a VR adventure next, Doctor Who: The Edge of Time. It was released in 2019, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it for non-PS Plus members, and a really great deal for a really cool looking VR game. This game has optional move controllers, which is really good. That's much appreciated in games like this. They usually make them way better to play. In this VR puzzle game, you get to team up with the Doctor to solve puzzles and save the universe from a mysterious new enemy. You get to pilot the TARDIS and experience the world of Doctor Who like never before, meeting both iconic and new monsters in the adventure, all the way interacting with the 13th Doctor. But there isn't a 13th Doctor, so that doesn't make much sense to me. You think they use a real Doctor, right, not a made-up rubbish one? Crazy. I've always liked Doctor Who ever since I was a kid, and I mean the original one, not the remake. The original one is amazing, and I rewatched it during COVID. Amazing. Definitely worth rewatching if you like Doctor Who, or you've never seen it. On a side note, Patrick Troughton is the best Doctor, and if you don't know who he is, man, you're missing out. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Anyway, this looks like a really good VR game. This is exactly what VR was meant for, to immerse yourself in a world that's very interesting to you, and get to go places you would never be able to go in real life. You even get to experience some of the legendary villains from the originals, including the Daleks, and you also get some of the best out of the new ones as well, like the Weeping Angels, which are included as well. In short, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you'll love this game. Apart from the weird 13th Doctor they've made it. God, I don't know why they did that. They should have just used a proper real one instead. Anyway, if you're a fan of the series, definitely check this game out. It's the closest you'll ever get to going on an adventure with a real Doctor. And hey, if you're not a fan of Doctor Who, then I'm not sure if I'd recommend this game. Realistically, it's a Doctor Who game and it's VR, so if you're not interested in the Doctor Who world, then you're probably much better off spending your money on a different game instead. So unless you're really curious about it, you might want to skip this and pick up a different game instead. But don't worry about it, there's plenty more options for you. And if not, then subscribe and we'll find you something else in the next sale. We have a fighter next, Injustice 2 Legendary Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 5 years old, and is on an 89% discount for the low price of £5.27, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, as this edition includes all of the DLC, including 10 characters, and 5 premium skins including Hellboy and the Turtles, which is amazing value, with really cool franchises included. This is a great deal. In this game that continues on from the first one, Batman struggles against Superman's regime as a new threat puts Earth's existence at risk. It features character customization, 8-player online multiplayer, and 2-player local multiplayer as well. So if you love DC Comics and you like fighter games, you should definitely check this game out. You'll probably really enjoy it. And hey, if you never played a fighter before, then you might like this, especially if you're a fan of DC. It's well worth taking a look at, so if you're tempted at all, why not check it out? Next up is my star buy, Monster Energy Supercross 5 Special Edition PS4 and PS5. It was released in 2022, so it's only a year old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £8.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a phenomenal deal for such a new game, especially as this edition includes the Season Pass, including 10 legendary riders, 2 historic tracks, a new 2-race event, neon customizations, and branded themes as well. So you're getting a pretty new game, with a ton of extra content included as well, which is really good. This motocross racing game features a brand new career mode, where you get to start as a rookie, sign to a new sponsor, create your own race team, and then prove you're worthy to challenge the best and become a pro rider. It includes a track editor, esport division, an online 12-player, and offline 2-player multiplayer as well. So there's tons of extra content with the track editors, and since it's a pretty new game, the online's probably still active as well, which is always a bonus. So if you're into this sport, you should definitely take a look at this. Most of these games are usually pretty old, even though they're usually really cheap as well. It's unusual to see a pretty new one at such a good deal, especially with all of the content included as well. So if you like the look of this one, definitely take a look at it. It's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money if you're interested. And hey, if you've never played a Supercross racer like this before, then this is a really good place to start if you want a newer game. But if that doesn't bother you, you can pick up a load of older ones for way cheaper than this. So the world's your oyster really. You can either pick this one up for the more modern content, or if that doesn't bother you, subscribe, and then I'll help you find one of the older ones in another sale. Monstrum is our next game. It was released in 2020, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for such a cool and interesting looking game. In this roguelike, you're stranded on a procedurally generated cargo ship, and you're being hunted by a randomly chosen monster with different strengths and weaknesses. Can you survive long enough to escape the ship, or die trying? I really like the look of this game. In general, roguelikes aren't my thing, but I like the idea of this one. The fact that you're stranded on a ship, but it's random every time you play, and then the monster you're being hunted by is also random. I really like the idea of it. It's a really cool spin on the genre, and I think if you like survival horror games, you'll really enjoy this one. It looks really cool and interesting to me. So if you like the idea of it as much as I do, then definitely take a look at this one. I think it's a bit of a diamond in the rough. And hey, if you've never played a roguelike before, then if you like survival horror games, or horror games in general, this looks like a really cool one, and it's at a pretty good price as well. So you should definitely take a look at it if you like the sound of it. And if not, don't worry, there's plenty more games in plenty more sales. Our next game is Natural Doctrine. It was released in 2014, so it's 9 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this strategy RPG, you get to test your abilities as you try to conquer the evils that lurk within the sprawling network of mines and ruins surrounding the fortress city of Fest. It features offline and online 2-player multiplayer, which is cool, but I can't guarantee it's very active these days, so keep that in mind. This game has mixed reviews. Some people really love it, some people aren't so sure, but hey, it's on a pretty decent discount, so if you like this sort of game and you're interested, why not take a look? And if you've never played a game like this before, then I would say start somewhere else, because you can get games that are equally priced, but much more universally loved. So take a look around and start somewhere else instead. And the final game I have for you is Slain Back from Hell. It was released in 2016, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £2.59, which is really great. In this action platformer, Batharin, a doomed hero of a gothic world, seeks to liberate 6 cursed realms from 6 deadly overlords by fighting through their monster and trap-filled strongholds. It features a heavy metal soundtrack by Kurt V. Bryant, formerly of Celtic Forest. This game was a big deal when it came out at the time, because not only is it a really good game, but the soundtrack is epic from what I understand. Fans of metal will absolutely love it, so if you like this sort of gameplay, and you like metal, then you should definitely take a look at this game. I'm sure you'll really love it. And hey, if you've never played an action platformer before, then I'd recommend this one. It's a really good one, and it's really cheap. Pretty much the only reason I wouldn't recommend it is if you don't like metal, then you might not like it and you might want to pick up a different one instead. But if that's the case, don't worry. Subscribe, and I'll help you find another one in another sale instead. And that's all the games I have for the August Savings PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your complaints down in the comments, and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some games you're interested in, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Au revoir.